There's financial advice that nearly everyone has heard. Earn more, spend less, avoid bad debt, invest early, build an emergency fund, diversify. These things are not wrong. Most of them are genuinely good ideas. Here's the problem. Two people can follow roughly the same advice and end up with completely different levels of financial freedom. Same discipline, same savings rate, similar incomes, and one of them is building something that grows while they sleep, and the other is working harder every year just to maintain the same position. What explains that gap? It's not a missing tactic. It's not a better investment product. It's a set of principles that determine what happens to money and effort, what you own because of the work you've done, not just what you've earned. This video is about those principles, not shortcuts, not investment tips, the ideas that shift the goal from earning a good income to building a system that becomes progressively less dependent on your daily labor. 10 principles. They all point toward the same thing. Let's go through them. Secret number 1 of 10. Income is not wealth. Earned income is fuel. The objective is to convert fuel into engines. The first principle is the most important and the most frequently misunderstood. Income is not wealth. Income is the rate at which money arrives. Wealth is the accumulated stock of things that produce value after the work is done. A surgeon who earns $500,000 a year and spends $490,000 of it has a high income and almost no wealth. A content creator who owns $80,000 a year and converts $30,000 of it into an owned digital asset, an email list, and an investment portfolio is building wealth. Income disappears when it's consumed. Wealth accumulates when income is converted into assets that continue producing value. This matters because most people use income as the primary scoreboard. The more useful question is, what does this income allow me to own? What remains tomorrow from what I earned today? Stop tracking income as the goal. Start tracking what the income is building. Earned income is fuel. The objective is to convert fuel into engines. Secret number 2. Own more than you consume. Financial independence is fundamentally an ownership game, and ownership is broader than most people think. Consumers continuously exchange money for things whose value is used up, like rent, food, subscriptions, entertainment. None of these are wrong. They're necessary and often good, but when nearly all income goes towards consumption, there's nothing left that can create the next dollar without the same amount of work. Owners direct a growing share of their money and effort toward things capable of producing future value. A diversified investment portfolio, an evergreen content library that attracts search traffic, an email list that can be reached directly, a digital product catalog, a business system that can run without constant supervision. These are all forms of ownership. 100 email subscribers you can reach with a single message is ownership. An article that earned 10 organic visitors every day for 2 years is ownership. The question is not simply how much do I make? It's what do I own because I made it? Ownership is the difference between income that requires you and income that doesn't. Secret number 3. Sequence beats simultaneous hustle. There's a piece of financial wisdom that gets misapplied more than almost any other, and it's this. Wealthy people have multiple income streams. And while that's true, the way it gets applied is usually wrong. People hear it and immediately try to build 5 income streams simultaneously. A YouTube channel, a dropshipping store, a print-on-demand shop, some stocks, and a freelance service, all started in the same month. The result is usually 5 weak, disconnected things rather than one compounding system. What most people don't see is that the multiple income streams of successful businesses and creators are almost always the result of sequence, not simultaneous beginnings. One asset was built and made to work. Then the next layer was added because the first one created the conditions for it. In the Evergreen income system, content creates traffic. Traffic builds an email audience. The audience makes a digital product viable. The product creates surplus. The surplus eventually funds investments, and the investments begin generating their own returns. That is diversification. But it's an outcome of disciplined construction, not a starting instruction. Build one useful asset, make it work, and then add the next layer that strengthens the first. Secret number 4, protect the compounding process. Compounding only works when it's allowed to continue. This is the principle that explains why two people can invest the same assets for 10 years and end up in very different positions. It's not always the investments. It's whether the compounding was interrupted. An emergency that forces an investment sale at a market low. A period of high-interest consumer debt that drains the surplus that would have been invested. A business cash shortage that requires raiding funds set aside for assets. Each of these resets part of the compounding process and costs more than just the immediate dollar amount. This is why an emergency reserve and adequate liquidity are not dead money. They're insurance for the compounding process. They exist to prevent the system above them from being dismantled at the wrong time. Protect the compounding process. Everything valuable happens above the floor you build. Protection does not look productive, but it preserves everything that is. Secret 5, build assets that outlive the work. If every dollar you earn requires another hour of your time to produce, income can rise, but freedom does not necessarily rise with it. A transition toward financial freedom begins when work starts leaving things behind. A searchable YouTube video that answered a question someone will have in 3 years. An article that ranks in search results for a term people keep entering. An email list of subscribers who opted in and can be reached again. A digital product that delivers automatically when purchased. Invested capital that compounds without requiring additional decisions. These are assets. What makes them assets is that they continue creating value after the original effort ends. The energy was spent once. The result keeps producing. The question worth asking after any significant work session is simple. What remains after I stop working today? If the answer is very little, the work might be valuable, but it's probably not building freedom. The most valuable work is work that can continue creating value after the original effort ends. Secret number 6, capture before you monetize harder. Attention is useful, but attention on a platform you do not control is rented, not owned. Views, followers, subscribers, and engagement metrics belong to the platform that hosts them. If that platform changes its algorithm, reduces organic reach, or removes your account, the audience relationship can be disrupted overnight. An email subscriber is different. They've given you their contact information voluntarily. The relationship exists independent of any platform. When you have something to share, like a new product, a recommendation, an important update, you can reach them directly without an algorithm deciding whether they see it. The principle is this: before trying to extract maximum revenue from the attention you've built, create a mechanism for retaining the relationship. One piece of content can attract someone once. A captured subscriber relationship can create value repeatedly over years. Attention is rented until you convert it into something you control. Secret 7. Use cash flow to buy freedom, not just lifestyle. Lifestyle inflation is one of the quietest destroyers of compounding. When every increase in income permanently increases spending, a nicer apartment, a newer car, more services, higher expenses as a baseline, earning more never creates much additional investable capital. The treadmill runs faster, but the runner stays in the same place relative to financial freedom. This is not an argument against enjoying income. It's an argument about what additional income is used for first. The principle is this: when income rises, direct a deliberate percentage of that increase toward assets before allowing the full amount to flow into lifestyle. Some portion of the surplus can improve life today. A consistent percentage should be acquiring assets that reduce dependence on future labor. Here's the progression. Income grows, surplus increases. Surplus acquires productive assets. Those assets create additional income. The additional income increases the surplus available for the next asset. The first purpose of additional income is not automatically additional consumption. It's additional optionality. Each asset purchased is a small reduction in how much labor the future will require. Secret number 8. Time horizon is a competitive advantage. Most people overestimate what should happen in 6 months and dramatically underestimate what consistent asset accumulation can do over 5, 10, or 20 years. Compounding is almost invisible early and nearly irresistible late. That gap, The period where the work feels constant and the reward feels small is where most people quit. They start a YouTube channel. 3 months in, they're at 200 subscribers. The income is negligible. The content has been good. The consistency has been there, but the results feel proportional to the effort, not exponential. So they pivot, or they stop, or they start something else. And they never learn what the compounding curve looks like at month 24 or month 36 because they left in month 4. This applies everywhere. Investments, content libraries, email lists, product catalogs, and business systems. The early phase is flat and boring. The middle phase requires tolerance for unremarkable progress. The late phase is where the results feel disproportionate to the current effort because the current effort is being added to years of accumulated work. Patience is not inactivity. It's allowing productive systems enough time to become nonlinear. The boring middle is not a sign that something is wrong. It's where compounding is happening invisibly. Secret number 9. Diversify the engines, not just the investments. Traditional diversification advice focuses on investment holdings. Different sectors, different asset classes, different geographies. That kind of diversification is real and useful. But genuine financial resilience comes from something broader, having different economic engines that operate on different underlying principles. The 2-engine framework is this: a digital and business engine that compounds your effort, your audience, your knowledge, and your intellectual property, and an investment engine that compounds financial capital through market returns, dividends, and distributions. These engines behave differently, which is exactly the advantage. When markets decline, the digital engine keeps creating content, growing subscribers, and generating product sales that don't depend on market performance. When content production slows, the investment engine keeps compounding from its existing capital base. Long-term independence becomes stronger when human-created assets, the ones that compound effort, and financial assets, the ones that compound money, are both working at the same time. The investment portfolio compounds money. The digital portfolio compounds effort, audience, and trust. Secret number 10. Financial freedom is a system, not a number. There's a common version of financial success that looks like a number, a net worth target, a passive income milestone, a specific salary, and numbers are useful. They give direction. But the deeper objective is not a number, it's a system. A high income but no assets is fragile. One disruption, like a job loss, a health crisis, a business revenue collapse, can erase years of financial position in months. The income was not a system. It was a single source. A portfolio of interconnected assets, like a content library that earns independently, and an email list that can be reached directly, digital products that sell without active promotion, an investment portfolio growing from monthly contributions, a membership providing a recurring revenue floor, is a system. It has redundancy. No single disruption eliminates all of it. Define financial freedom not as a number you reach once, but as a condition that improves over time, as your dependence on any single employer, any single platform, any single income source, or any single product decreases. Freedom is not an arrival point. It's the direction the system moves when it's working correctly. Freedom grows as dependence on any single source decreases. Here's what's worth noting about these 10 principles. They're not 10 disconnected tricks. They're 10 ways of describing the same behavior. Income is not wealth, because wealth is what the income builds, not what it earns. Own more than you consume, because assets are what create the flywheel effect. Sequence beats simultaneous hustle, because each layer must be strong enough to power the next. Protect the compounding process, because an interrupted flywheel must restart from a lower position. Build assets that outlive the work, because the flywheel only accelerates when past effort keeps contributing to future rotations. Capture before you monetize harder, because relationships that are lost cannot compound. Use cash flow to buy freedom, because surplus is the fuel that makes the next rotation possible. Time horizon is a competitive advantage, because the nonlinear phase only comes after sustained accumulation. Diversify the engines, because 2 compounding machines are more resilient than 1. And financial freedom is a system, not a number, because the system keeps running, adapting, and growing. 10 principles, 1 direction. Financial success is not reserved for people who discover a secret investment strategy or build 10 businesses simultaneously. It comes from making increasingly better decisions consistently about where today's money and effort go. The compressed version of every principle in this video is this: earn, protect, own, sequence, capture, reinvest, diversify, give the system time. And hold on to this idea. You don't need everything to work at once. You need each thing you build to make the next thing easier. A content library that builds an audience that makes a product viable, a product that creates surplus, a surplus that funds an investment portfolio that eventually produces income that content doesn't need to cover. That is the Evergreen income system. Not a single asset, not a single income source. A set of principles that connect each layer to the next until the system becomes something neither you nor I could fully predict at the beginning. This channel is here for the step-by-step execution of every layer in that system. If this video described the world you want to build, and you want to know exactly how to build each piece of it, subscribe. The compounding has already started for someone who began last year. It starts for you when you decide it does. This is Evergreen Income. The compounding starts now.